Here is a kit for one of the Amazon greenhouses that is 20 by 10 by 6. And it comes with all the poles and everything. And as you're unboxing it, you'll notice that this stuff is pretty stinking thin. It's thinner than conduit. And a lot of people are having problems with these getting all torn apart in windstorms. So knowing that, I basically bought the kit for a pattern. And so I put the kit together, and then I welded the joints together, tacked them, and then I added these cross braces in here, and then I added these gusset braces in here. And then I also put in a stake pocket for driving a stake into the ground at a 45-degree angle on each corner. And then I left these loose here so that I can use this for the other end wall because they're identical. And so basically I just used it to hold everything together to allow me to weld it. And then I'm going to take this off and weld up a mirror image of this wall. And then I'm going to put all the middle sections together. So hopefully if you buy one of these kits, just know that you're going to have to do some modifications to it. Now, I could have, if I wanted to, just use some conduit and smashed it down flat and then ran a self-tapping screw or something through here and done the same thing instead of having to weld it if you don't have the welding skills. The other thing that I could have done is taken a piece of plywood and cut it out and then put the screws through here into the plywood. I'd have to pre-drill the holes and then drill into it, or even a board or something like that, just to give that some extra strength, because this whole thing is super stinking wobbly. And then on these here, you could pound these flat and then just lap it over the top of this screw you have here, drill a hole there, and then bend a tab on this end and attach to that screw there. But it needs some kind of diagonal bracing because this thing is just rickety. But right now, I can stand it up and I can hang from that bar. It'll support my weight. So 250 pounds or so. All right. Here it is with the end section taken off, so I can make the extensions. So I'm just gonna add another section to this and then pick this up, move it out the door, so I got room to work and put another identical section together. And this model has 2 doors, which I really like. Gives you a lot of options, but they're pretty flimsy. So I went ahead and went from the hinge side on that side down to the bottom corner to prevent it from sagging, and welded that in with a piece of scrap conduit. And then I tack welded these joints together so that it takes the flexibility out of it, and squared them up and everything when I welded it. They're not real straight coming right out of the box. So I don't know how people that don't have any skills are using these kits, because they're ridiculously flimsy if you just follow the directions. And again, on these cross braces, this brace could have gone to this bolt here and this bolt down here if you don't have the ability to weld. And this stuff is very difficult to weld, so if you're not a skilled welder, you may want to either get somebody to do that for you or just avoid this kit entirely, unless you can do something with it. You got to have some skills to be able to put this thing together. So here's a look at the sections that I've got welded together. I've got this middle section here that's going to span between these 2 end sections, and these 2 end sections that are here and there, they're welded solid. So hopefully that'll stiffen everything up. The finished product of the frame, what a sight to behold. I got stake pockets for the corners for extra stakes. I'm gonna strap it off to the fence, and I've got reinforcements at the midway point, and probably have some stakes going off of that as well. But it's way more solid than what they had at the onset. So got a little bit of flexibility, but at least the thing stays together. But you can really tell where the joints are at that I didn't weld up. But I had to be able to carry it and put it together somehow. So there she is. Here we are, basically finished. Not all the way, of course, but I elected to throw some boards down on the sides here, and then I may come back and stack cinder blocks on there. I'm not sure yet. And then one of these landscape posts across the front. That keeps this door from blowing open, which I kind of like. Just have the door swing in. And then this door cover is interesting. It's got a weather flap on there, and then it's actually an envelope that goes over the door. I didn't realize that when I got started. It's got these little Velcro things up here. This is Velcroed on around the edges. And I took duct tape and I ran over the all of my seams and everything, and all of the screw heads, just to make sure that that doesn't wear and poke through. Trying to extend the life of this thing, since I put a lot of work in the frame. And then that's about a 5 foot length of conduit driven down in the ground. And then I've got a screw there, screwing them both together, and same in each corner. And then in the middle, put another conduit, drove that in the ground, and then used some strapping material to just strap it to the side of that conduit. And I used this conduit here rather than this, because this is kind of thinner wall, so I wanted it to grip good. And same with this corner here. But it came with like 22 of these clips, and I'm assuming it wanted more on the door, but I used 3 down the sides there, just to keep the air from getting under there for right now till I get it secured. But you can order a pack of 50 of those for like 20 bucks. So I think I'm gonna get some more of those. And then that way, if I have a problem with the flapping or whatever, I can actually throw a clip up here or something if I want to. We've got jets running over it right now. But anyway, there's your basic greenhouse. Something I forgot to mention, I did go back and I painted all of my welds just to keep that metal from rusting, since that other stuff's so stinking thin. I did not want to risk that starting to rust and rust through. And since this will probably sweat on the inside, I wanted to avoid that. But what's my impression overall? This is a 6.5 foot tall. It's got a decent amount of headroom, 10 feet wide, which gives you a little bit more space, because I'm gonna put barrels on each side and do the 360-degree planing in the barrels. Then I'm gonna use the top of the barrels, put some planks on there for my starters, so I can get those started. And then when the starters are gone, then I'll go ahead and plant the tops of the barrels. But my overall impression for the money, for me, it worked out. But there's so many issues with it. I don't know that I would trust it. Some people said they were real happy with it, but they must not live in a windy area or something, because any little bit of wind, I'm afraid this thing would just fall apart. And if you got a snow load on top of it and then add some wind to it, I mean, it's just gone. So for all of the things that I had to do to it, I wouldn't recommend it for your basic homeowner person that doesn't have any skills, or you're gonna have to get pretty creative reinforcing this thing. Also, I was a couple bolts short in the package, and then I was missing 2 of these crossbars. Not that they did much, but I just put in my own reinforcements on the corners and then the ones in the middle to just stable the structure up from a wind coming from the end, basically, is what those are for. It keeps the whole thing from racking. So my impression overall, like I said, it was a good investment for me. I really like the plastic. That's mainly what I bought it for. Originally, I thought, well, I'll buy the plastic and I'll make my own frame. But because I already had the material, I thought, well, shoot, I just as well use it. But some people are taking these and putting those cattle panels over the top of it and using zip ties to fasten everything together. If it was me and you were going to go this route, I would definitely recommend doing that, because these things are just really lightweight. All right.